Hello, hello. Ah. Hey, look at that. We don't have any snow. Grass is turning green. It's a gorgeous 70 degrees today, and tomorrow will be in the 30s.
And I think Sunday and Monday it's supposed to be snowing.
No.
Yeah. Rain, snow.
It's okay. It doesn't stick around.
Rain, snow. What's it they call poor man's fertilizer?
Yeah.
When you have snow.
Yeah.
They call it the poor man's fertilizer. Yeah.
So Mom's been working on this Christmas tree skirt. She has another name for it, but we won't say it here.
Forever. And I keep thinking, wow.
You want to lay it on the ground? Or do you want to? So she hooks it every night, and she does it quite a bit, and so she's like, I'm almost done. And then
she does this. And she goes, holy crap. I haven't even begun to fight.
But it's so pretty. It really is.
The black, I will say this, the black makes me want to work on it, but the black is hard to work with at nighttime in my room. So I got a lot of little nubs I got to cut. But I keep thinking I've done so much, but then I look and I think,
you're a quarter of the way done.
One poinsettia done.
Yeah.
That's it. So realistically, looking at it tonight, if I go home now and I start hooking, I can get this section done right there. When I get over to there and I can start that section.
What section? You think you can? Oh, okay.
This section right here. Then once I get that section done, I'll feel good because I'll be moving over to there, which will make me halfway done. But people, this has been a long process.
Well, it's been, I think you've had this for, 2 or 3 years now?
I was trying to see if there's any date on it. I think I've had it for 3 years.
Mom kept asking me to draw stars and draw stars and draw stars. I never did, so finally she drew the damn stars herself.
I said, to hell with it, I can draw stars.
This is coming out. She decided that was, just didn't make sense.
Didn't do well with it. But I like the holly line and the berries.
Yeah.
And I like the antique black background.
It's really Christmas traditional, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's quite pretty.
The first one we have is primitive.
So maybe this will be done by next Christmas.
This one.
This Christmas?
I will not allow myself to start another rug until I finish this one.
Oh boy.
So I'm really putting a drive on. Yeah. So that's it for me. Outside
well,
my
no.
little
I came back. I went over to Moses this morning to pick up some frames, and I came back with a little prototype surprise for Mom because she had asked Moses to make this little box. And tell me what your thought was.
My thought is that when I'm doing a rug, I can cut my material and stick them all through here so that they're all hanging there. But he made a little thing for me to put my hooks in and my scissors. And then if I had a lot of background, I'd probably put that in, just lay it down here. But I like to have so that I can just pull off there. So I'm very happy with it.
Yep. So this came out much better than we really thought. I mean, it's a little on the big side. I want to say it's 18 inches tall.
Well, for me, I think it'll be sitting right beside my chair.
Right. It'll be on the table.
Yeah.
And this is not centered, this part, so it will go right up against the wall or almost against the wall because strips will be coming out here.
Yeah.
This will be your hooking caddy. What are we going to call it? I don't know. We will be having Carol's caddy. We will be having these on the website. This is a prototype and it's made of pine, but we're going to have him make them out of cherry because it's a stronger wood. We figure you may or may not be bringing this with you to a hook-in, maybe? I don't know. There's kind of room for
all kinds of things.
A little cutter,
yeah.
If you had the other cutter, not the Sizzix.
A soda.
Little soda.
Pack of M&Ms.
Snacks.
Little snacks.
That space is big enough for Mom's bag of M&Ms.
Yep.
Her
I
cookies.
Don't know. That last thing I bought of Easter eggs, they would fit in there.
Yeah, so this will be coming soon. He's going to make some of these. He wanted to get Mom's approval first, and he'll be making some of these out of cherry and then putting a coat of finish on the top. They will not be painted. They'll be just have a coat of...
I would like to paint this.
I figured you would.
I would like to paint it and then kind of sand it so it looks old.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to decide on the color that I want to do it. I just want to tell people what I'm reading right now. I'm reading The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. Very good. And I'm listening to, and I actually turn my TV off at night to listen to it. It's called The Frozen River, and it's historical fiction, and it's about Martha Bullard, who was a midwife in Maine in the 1700s, which I have read about her life history and everything. But this is fiction, and it's pretty good. That's all I can say. I like it, and it makes me turn the TV off at night and just listen to it while I hook. But apparently I'm not hooking fast enough. But that's, and a great movie to watch on...
I would beg to differ. I think a lot of people would too.
Yeah, Prime Video. I watched Road Dance. That's about World War I in Scotland. I think it's World War I or World War II. Anyway, it's very rural village, and all the young men go to fight. And there's a very interesting story with a very quirky ending at the end. So that's a good one on Prime Video, Road Dance. That's all I got, Julie, today.
All right, so we're going to head on to the pre-recorded, well, this is all pre-recorded, but the really pre-recorded portion of the video of a project that I've been working on. So hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Be kind, people.
Okay, so here's my heart, and you can see it is drawn on linen. You have to use linen when you're hooking wide strips. And you can use monks, but it's just going to be harder for you. I've chosen soft summer plaid, and we're going to tear these into 3/4 inch strips. Okay, so when I say 3/4 of an inch, I'm filming and holding the camera at the same time. So I just come along with my scissors. You know, I don't measure. Truth be told, I don't really care if they're all the same, but I don't want to go much more than 3/4 of an inch because it's hard on my hand to hook. Some people hook with 1-inch strips. I don't know, I just find it harder. But if you do not have a cutter and you want to try hooking and you like the primitive look and your hand can handle this, then hand cutting is the way to go. If you are skilled with a rotary cutter, you can use your rotary cutter to cut your wool strips, but it takes a long time and it's not as fun. Cutting's traditionally not fun, but with the Sizzix cutter it is. All right, so I'm now going to tear these. Okay, here's my strips. They're all torn. I just tore them by hand. Wool is a woven fabric, so it tears right on the straight of the grain. You can see that by tearing, you get that nice frayed edge. I don't want to say frayed, but you get the nice rough edge, which is the look I'm going for this primitive heart. You can tell already that the wool starts to take on a different look when it's in a pile of wool like this, pile of strips, as opposed to this. It's probably going to even get a little bit darker when I hook it. So we're going to get started. Ooh, what's that? We're going to get started hooking, and it's probably going to take at least a half a yard. This is 1/4 yard torn right here, and I'll probably have to come and tear my other one. I know I will. It's going to take at least a half a yard to do this. Okay, I know what this looks like. I showed a video on Facebook, this part of the video last week, and you can imagine the comments I got. But this is my heart upside down. So the reason you use linen is because, oh, hi, Zena. The reason you use linen is because the holes are a little bit bigger for pulling those wide strips through. But it's also best to have a decent size hook. A hook with a larger shaft. So you can see the gold shaft of my hook is a little bit larger. And you can see that when I push it down into the linen, I'm pushing it all the way so that it creates a big hole and I can pull those big strips up through with relative ease. It does take a bit of a firm hand to pull those wool strips up. So this technique, this style, this size isn't for everyone. But if you have the right hook, it shouldn't be so difficult. So I'm going to keep going along and follow along. This is an 8mm long shank skinny bitch hook. We sell them here at the Old Tattered Flag. Again, 8mm long shank skinny bitch hook. I've done 2 rows around. It's looking kind of shabby right now. That's all right. I'm going to keep on filling in. Okay, I'm all filled in now. I just love this look. It's just a different look than hooking with smaller cuts. I just love how this fills in the heart. It's a nice primitive look. Okay, so I did a quick press mainly around the linen just to kind of straighten it out. I don't like to press too much on these because I don't want to flatten them. They're actually a little bit more flat than I prefer, so I might try to do this and scrunch it up. And so now I'm going to trim it from the linen. And then I'm going to start pressing it in to the back. This is the same wool that I used to hook it. When I am cutting, I want to, since these are such big loops, I'm going to allow myself, you can't see, but I'm going to allow myself about 1/4 inch from the edge. I may have to trim it down further, but when I sew it on, I'm going to want to pull it right up to these loops. So I don't want the linen to show from the backing. So I'm going to trim it about 1/4 inch away. I'm going to trim it just a little bit. I got too much. This is going to have a wire hanger right here because it's going to hang on the porch. I want to put a little pocket of burlap. Since this is so primitive and grungy, I think burlap will be good. And then I'm going to put a few white flowers in it that will pop from the back of this. I was hoping this had more of a contrast against the fabric, so I may have to grunge it up some with some walnut crystals. But you can see I'm pulling some of these fibers off the top because I want it to be ragged. The more ragged, the better. And it almost wouldn't hurt for me to do this and just grunge it up and tatter it up. You don't want to pull too much because you still want to have some pocket left. I'm going to do a real primitive stitch just to kind of tack this pocket down this way. And then we're going to stick our flowers in coming out here, coming out the top. I'm going to attach the backing now. I'm using just some regular pearl cotton that kind of matches the color of my wool. I go down through the loops and then down through the linen and the backing fabric and then up and around, and allowing that extra 1/4 of an inch of fabric that I cut when I was cutting it out, it pulls it right up to the loops. This is a good point of view to see how I'm inserting the thread in between the loops and then down through the linen, down through the backing, up and around. I don't go every loop. I don't put the needle in every loop. I skip about 2, sometimes even 3 loops. But you'll find that once you start doing this, you get an easy rhythm. And see how it pulls that backing fabric right up to the loops. I find myself scrunching it because when I press the back, it scrunched these loops down too much. So I find myself doing this. And I want to scrunch them up and I want to make them rough. You can see that I did get the backing on. I did not go in between every hole. I did a nice wide primitive stitch to match the nice wide primitive strips that you see in the rug. It kind of matches it nicely. You don't have to use wool to back it. You can use any material you have. This is a little bit loose, that's fine. We're going to attach a wire hanger back here, so you won't even see this backing. So I like the positioning of this. By the way, I'm using OTF number 8 Pearl BR73. It's nice for this fabric because there's so many different colors in it, and there's several different colors in this tan. So this is a good thread for this. I'm just going to do a very big and loose stitch, holding this down. If I come up from the back of it, I'm hoping that it's not going to interfere with any of the threads. And I'm going to kind of manipulate it in the direction I want it to go, because I don't want it to be nice and neat. I want it to look loosey-goosey. You really can't even see the thread too much, which is all right. If you wanted to use a darker thread, you could. So you see those stitches? I mean, you can see them. It's just that they're not really glaringly, you know, evident in the piece, which is fine. Now we're coming to the fun part. I mean, it's all been fun, but this is the part where it really comes to life. So that pocket is already stitched on, you'll see that, and now we're going to put our flowers in. I kind of feel like with flowers you have to have an odd number, either 3 or 5. Please forgive the noise in the background. We're going to go with 5 in this, and we're staggering different sizes. We've got a large, we've got a couple smalls, and a couple mediums. So I'm going to show you how to finish these last 2 flowers. These were cut with the petals were cut with the daisy die that we have. So for the center of your flower, you're going to use a little strip of wool. Usually it's about 1/4 inch, and you're going to tie 1 single knot in it. Pull it tight, and then you're going to trim with your scissors. You're going to trim that tail off, and then you're going to trim it again, so you just have like a round knot. Trim it up so you don't have any tails sticking out. Take the tip of your wire and stick it in the end of your glue gun just to get a little bit of glue on, and then insert it into the tied portion of your flower center. That'll hold that right on there. Now you're going to take your petals and you're going to slide them. It's easiest to start with the one that's going to be closest to the flower center. Start at the bottom, slide it all the way up your wire, so that it's right up close to the center. Hey, that looks like a flower. Then the next thing you're going to do is kind of scrunch it up a little bit. Put a little dab of hot glue right near the base of that flower center. Push it right up so that that glue will hold those flowers on. You're going to kind of want to scrunch it around that glue in that center so that it looks like a flower. The good thing about hot glue is that it dries quickly. Now what we're going to do is slide a circle of wool, or a penny as we call it, onto the back of the flower to kind of stabilize it more and hold everything in place. And so to do that, you'll see that we put some glue on the back of it. We slide the penny down and we kind of press it onto that glue that's on the back of the flower. And then we're going to kind of squeeze it just a little bit more to give it that flower shape. Very cute. So we got all our flowers made, and now what we're going to do is attach our rusty wire hanger. This is a good thick wire. You're going to make kind of a U at the end of each end, and then you're just going to kind of stick it into your wool. Stick the other side into the wool. And then I think we're going to have to put a couple of stabilizing stitches in up near the top. So I'm just going to grab my needle and thread and just grab just put in a couple of quick stitches right there just to hold everything nice and firm. And we are done. This came out so much better than I thought it would. I always have an idea in my brain of what I think things will look like or how I want them to come out, and they don't always come out that way, but this one really is very cute. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you are interested, we have kits on our website, www.theoldtatteredflag.com. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.